Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years and shares her insights on the local housing market. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO. And good morning. Thank you so much for being a part of Missoula Real Estate Today. We welcome you and remind you the Home and Garden Show weekend at the Adams Center. If you're listening on Saturday, it's open till 5. If you're listening on Sunday, it's open till 4. No admission charge. You just bring some canned good donations to get into the annual Home and Garden Show at the Adams Center. And we are, of course, sponsored by Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate. She provides the program, thanks to Diane, and always brings us good guests, a guest that's been on a time or two. Ed Anderson with Craigs Mart of Missoula. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Denny. Thrilled to be here again.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in. And for those who don't know, Craigs Mart, a little bit about that. How long have you been involved, and how did Craigs Mart come to be?
So we opened the business in January of 2017. So we're into our third year now in business. We're at our current location. We've been there just over a year. But we opened in January of 2017 at the old Flanagan's location. It was an interesting spot, but it was small, and it was just kind of our little laboratory. We had lots of things to learn about the business, processes to refine. So we opened it up, and we sold actually quite a few things over there. We really listened to sellers and buyers and refined our processes. We're just really trying to build something that works for buyers and sellers and that's sustainable. Sure. And in March of last year, we moved into our location where we've been since then, 3100 Brook Street, right across from the mall, right next to Papa John's Pizza Store. So it's the old. It was a purpose built as a Hastings building years ago, and so it serves us really great.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, this being a real estate show, we'll touch, of course, on ideas of home decor. If you're in the market for a home, you might be in the market for some home decor, or you might be downsizing, and Ed can help you at both ends of that, because folks come in the store, there's obviously items for sale, but you acquire items via folks who would like to sell those, right?
Exactly. So we don't own anything that's in the store. They're all owned by other people that have an item that they wanted to sell, but for many reasons didn't want people coming to their house. Maybe they live up in Polson or Hamilton, too far out of town. Maybe they're too busy to mess with the selling part. There's lots of reasons. So they bring the item into us. They tell us about it. We'll take pictures of it, do a write-up, a bulleted write-up, post it to our website, craigsmart.com. We'll also post it to Craigslist. More and more, we've been putting things up on Facebook Marketplace, and all of those posts say, I have my item down at Craigs Mart. If you want to see it, go down there and they'll take care of you. So people find it, or they just come in the store browsing and look at it, and we show it and sell it to them for 45 days. We answer all the emails, all the phone calls. People that own the item don't have to mess with any of that. We'll manage the price for them within a range that they select. We assist them with that. We've got quite a large data set now, so we know where the market is on most items. And we sold almost everything. And so work with the buyers that come in, negotiate the price, make the sale, and then send the owners a check.
I think the way you put that is perfect, price management, because I've got to assume that a lot of folks, when they come to you, and I'm not going to say, we'll get into the difference between you and consignment, but somebody comes in to Craigs Mart and they have an item that they want to sell. My guess is that those folks' expectations are maybe a little bit higher than they should be normally. So you've got to manage that a little bit, right?
So it can work both ways, actually. Sometimes people think that their items are worth way more than the market does. Sometimes they think that they're worth way less than the market would value them. And so, but we always like to start that conversation with you. Have you done any research? Is there a number out there that would make you happy if it was to sell for that? And then kind of our job is just to validate that for them. We help them not leave money on the table, but also, price it at a point where it's likely to sell. So
And then a prospective buyer may come back with a counter offer, or is your policy, or do you try to keep it firm? The price that's marked is the price.
No, we have signs in the store. We encourage people to make an offer.
Okay.
Because the person that's selling it, really, they want it sold. And if you're interested in buying it, our job is to try and find a price that makes both parties happy. And so based on how long it's been there, based on the interest it's been receiving, we work with buyers all the time to get them to a point where they'll buy it and that it makes the seller happy. So, yeah.
My guest is Ed Anderson on Missoula Real Estate Today. Ed owns Craigs Mart here in Missoula. So let me get to that question. I'm sure a lot of people listening are thinking, okay, so you're a consignment store, I guess. But what is the difference between Craigs Mart and, say, your conventional consignment store?
Well, probably the biggest difference is our fee structure. When you bring your item into Craigs Mart, we charge a display fee, which is paid up front when you leave the item with us.
Okay.
The math on that for items is $10 plus 10% of your asking price, but never more than $100. So say you had a $200 chainsaw, or a chainsaw that you thought you could get $200 for.
Okay.
You'd leave us a chainsaw and $30, which is $10 plus 10% of $200. It's pretty easy math. We'll do our full treatment to it, show it and sell it, 45 days, manage the price for you, and when it sells, you receive 90% of whatever it sells for. So you can think of the display fee really as you're just renting a little square footage in our store and paying us to do the selling for you, and when it sells, you get almost all the money. Compare that to traditional consignment where you don't pay anything up front, but the shopkeeper takes a larger percentage at the end, often up to 50%. So it pencils out for you a lot better. Granted, you're taking some risk up front, but if we're smart about our pricing, then there's every expectation that the item should sell. If it's a good item that there's general demand for and we price it where the market is, there's every expectation that it should sell. And in fact, our metrics is 94% of everything that's ever come in the store has sold. So pretty good success rate. We have lots of people that have sold many, many things. We have over 1,300 people signed up actively selling with us now. The record one person, I think, has sold 68 things in there. Many people have sold over 50 things. There's storage units full of items around town that have lots of valuable things in there, but they're actually not, they're losing value every day, sitting them in there. And so we're a really good venue for people to lighten up on some things and sell some things, get them back into circulation, let other people use them, and make a little money.
Interesting. And this was the brainchild of who? I mean, how did there's only one Craigs Mart here in Missoula, Montana. That's it. And but how did the whole idea develop? Where did it originate from?
So I guess the first idea for this was kind of a micro retail idea that I had several years ago, where I realized that there's lots of people that make things and they're really good craftsmen and artisans, and but there's really not a good way for them to sell things, or they don't like the selling part of it. And so typically you see them wait around for trade shows or things, one-offs throughout the year to sell their things. So I kind of have always been intrigued about having a micro retail space for some very small, micro sellers to offer their things year-round, in a normal retail basis. But really the thing that spurred this was just kind of my own frustration with Craigslist. I was trying to sell a scooter for my wife, and after a couple missed appointments, and then the guy got my address to come up there, and he no-showed, and then he knew I was going to be out of town. It just seemed like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so my partner and I, Craig Echegren, who's the namesake of the business, came up with this idea, and we put it out there and opened it in the little Flanagan store, and have had pretty great growth since that time.
This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate, and my guest is Ed Anderson from Craigs Mart, located on Brook Street here in Missoula. And Ed, let me reel it back into this being a real estate show. How did you start working with Realtors. I know this is your second or third time on the program, so you obviously have a history and a relationship with at least Windermere Real Estate. But how did that facet of what you do develop?
So realtors often, they're there to serve the people whose homes that they're selling. And a lot of times when the home does sell, they're full of furnishings and things need to happen with that. Maybe the new buyers don't want any of that. And so it presents a problem for their clients to get rid of the things. And so, typically they might have estate sales or something like that. But we've kind of presented ourselves as a way to, maybe cherry pick some of the nicer items and bring them down to our store, because it's really not like an auction setting in there. I mean, things are on display. It's a retail store. People can come in at their leisure. And so over the span of 45 days, many, many people can see the item. So with a larger buyer pool, we think that you'll probably get more, a better price for that. So we really have just presented it to realtors as a way to, if there's some really nice estate pieces in the way of furnishings, that Craigs Mart is a good solution for them. We have lots of furniture in the store. Probably half of the store right now is taken up with furniture. But as we transition into summer, we get a lot more interesting mix. We'll have kayaks and canoes and sporting equipment, golf clubs, outdoor equipment, patio furniture. So it's a fun store to come in and just see what's going on. Things don't last very long. So as you come in from 1 week, say come back 3 weeks later, it's essentially a different store because all the things that were in there have been replaced with other items. And that also, just to kind of wrap back to the whole consignment thing, another thing that makes us different than traditional consignment is that typically consignment stores really feature only one type of an item. It might be furniture or maybe clothing or automobiles. Because the seller is able to take some of the risk off of the table with the display fee up front, we're able to offer a huge selection of almost everything in there. Consignment stores don't like to do that. They are pretty picky about what they take because they have to be sure that it will sell, and because they take all the risk and pay everything if it doesn't sell. So because of the nature of how we do things, we have a really interesting mix of items, everything from, musical instruments to lawn tractors to kayaks to not clothing. Actually, clothing is one of the things that we don't take.
Okay.
And guns and mattresses. Those are kind of the three big categories that we don't offer in the store. But there are some really nice consignment clothing stores in town that we direct people to.
Sure. And presentation is maybe not everything, but presentation is a lot. I don't know how much square footage you have, but you would probably always want more. But is that a challenge to make sure that you're merchandising this not only for a profit business, but also on behalf of people who bring you items for you to sell? Is display and all of that a challenge on a regular basis? I mean, you don't want just stuff piled in there, right? You want it to look good.
Yeah, it's super important. Merchandising is one of the things that we do very, very well. My wife Marge is kind of the head of that. She has a retail background, and I guess our strategy on that is kind of an organized chaos a little bit. It's fun as you wander around the store. We kind of generally have shop equipment in one area, but you might find a drill press over here. And so it's kind of a fun store to wander around and see what's new. So yeah, presentation is super important. I should also say that we have a minimum asking price of $100. So there has to be enough meat on the bone for it to work out for you and us. So in most of the things in the store are in the $300 to $500 range, I would say. So it's some really nice stuff in there. But that seems to be the sweet spot for most people. You can bring an item down. If it's in that range, you don't have to pay too much in display fees up front. And then on the other side, people don't need a loan to come in and buy it. It's often at a huge discount to what a new item would be. So that's kind of what we tell people we have lots of stuff. It changes all the time. We won't have everything all the time. But if you're ever thinking about buying something new, it might serve you to come down and check out our inventory or hit our website, because you might be able to get essentially a new thing at half price or less. So,
all right. So variety and display is the key.
Well,
variety, I guess, is just a consequence of all of that. But that's like we were talking about earlier, makes the store very, very interesting. So you bring in an item, and you're going to, if you bring in an item that you want to sell at Craigs Mart here in Missoula, you have to do a little, I don't think appraisal is the right word, but obviously you're going to have some input on the value and the quality of the product. Yes? I mean, somebody's going to come in and say, hey, this is worth $200. And, well, we need to, let's make sure this is working. Let's make sure this part is clean. Let's make sure this item is really, say, a $200 item.
Yeah, so condition really does matter. We like to have nice things in there. We don't have much of anything that would be for parts or salvage. And because people come in the store and they're looking for items generally that have utility, things that they're ready to put to use right now because they have a need for it. So we want things to be in good condition, and also an item that there's a large enough buyer pool for them. We get some things in. You might bring an item down that could be, you might be asking half of what it would be new, but it might be so specialized that there's really nobody looking to buy that. And so in a small town like Missoula, it's kind of a tough market. An example, a fella had a stereoscopic aerial photography viewer. I mean, this thing was gorgeous. They cost thousands of dollars. It's in a beautiful wooden container and all he wanted was like $500 for it, which is a screaming deal because the exact same thing, like I said, is $3,000 or so new. Yeah. But there has to be somebody that is interested in buying that, right? So if it's an item that people typically wouldn't take if you gave it to them, that's an item that's going to be difficult to sell. And it doesn't mean that it's junky or it has no value. It's just that it doesn't have a lot of the buyer pool for that is small.
Yeah, you've got to have some customer appeal to put it on display.
Yeah, so we try and advise people along those lines. So items that sell really well in the store are things that if you can find it in Missoula in a store, then it's generally there's enough demand for that that a used version of that in our store, if we price it right, there's lots of people looking to buy that, and it's likely to sell. A classic example, like a dining room table. Virtually every home in Missoula has a dining room table, and lots of people are looking to upgrade that. So we sell the heck out of dining room tables. I mean, there's huge trade in that. So if it's an item that there's lots of demand for and we price it right, it will usually sell.
Now, full disclosure, we're recording on a Thursday and playing it back a couple days later over the weekend here on Missoula Real Estate Today. So I don't want to put you on the spot here, Ed, but just so folks understand, there's a little bit of a delay in the record time to the air time. But I wanted to ask you about any new items that have come into the store that you think, wow, there's a wow factor here, some real appeal. By the time the show airs, that could be gone, but just a couple of examples of really cool stuff that, in your mind, that has come in recently.
Well, I mean, there is a lot of cool stuff that sells all the time. We have ornate word carvings. It's an otter, like you've seen the Jeff Fleming bears. This thing is like 7 feet tall. It's a fountain. We have it right when you come in. Bicycles have started to become really hot. I think we've sold 4 bikes in the last 4 days. I don't think one of them has lasted more than a day. For some reason, electric guitars have just been super hot right now. We sold a Fender Cutaway and an amp. We sold a Taylor T5. Missoula is a huge town for musical equipment anyway. We've had some cool accordions that have gone out lately. And
is there anything but a cool accordion, really? I mean, all accordions.
The people, there's a pretty good underground and
underground.
And also quilting. Who knew that the quilters had such a large presence in Missoula? We've had looms and quilting equipment in the store. So, yeah, you never know what you'll wander on. We have a nice drum set in there now. We've got a guy is bringing in a Grumman aluminum canoe next week. We have a fella bringing in it's a topper. It's like a pop-up camper that goes on a roof rack, like on a Subaru.
Okay.
It's like a $4,000 deal. It's instead of pulling a camper, it goes on the roof rack. I'd never seen one before, but he's bringing that in.
Okay.
And so yeah, he just never. We sold phone booths out of the Anaconda Hospital, or the Deer Lodge Hospital.
That's great.
You never know what the heck is coming in the door. Our website gets indexed really well by Google, so we get calls from all across the Northwest. I mean, we are a local solution. We don't ship anything, but if people are creative and they really want it, we can kind of assist them in getting that done. We usually hand that off to the shipping depot, and they'll come down and they'll estimate a cost to ship it to them. But we've had people drive from Boise, Seattle. We sold a really nice antique wood-burning stove to a fella that drove out here from Seattle who's building a house in Plains. And we get phone calls from across the country. And so our website gets indexed really well, and there are some search engines that can search all of Craigslist. So there's so if you're looking for something and you want to go that way, you can find it.
The perfect lead-in. I want to talk about that. This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. And our guest this morning is Ed Anderson, the owner of Craigs Mart here in Missoula. The website, absolutely critical, I would think, in your business to maintain that thing, if not daily, twice daily or whatnot. I mean, you have got to keep up with the day, because I see if you go to your website, there's kind of a drop-down menu or a menu where you've sort of categorized items that you have in stock, right? Whether it be antiques or lawn and garden, what have you. But tell us a little bit about your website.
So the website is the URL is craigs-mart.com.
Okay.
And you can't buy anything through the website. We really just use it to display things. Since most of the items are used, we think it's really important that you come into the store and look at the item, kick the tires, make sure that it's going to work for what you want to use it for, and that it's a good value. So, but we use the website to try and give as much information as we can through that medium. There's a robust search function at the top, which you can use to find things. On our homepage, the 9 most recent items are always appear right there. But sometimes we get way more than 9 items in a day, so an item may not last long on our homepage. But as you said, there's category search down the left-hand side, and you can click into categories and find specific items that you may be looking for.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about it, though, is that you're not able to buy online, but a catalog, if you will, of items in the store. My guess then is that generates contacts. They either call you or email you. What is typical customer contact?
Yeah, so if you're looking at an item, there's a link there where you can send us an email and say, I'm interested in this. You can pose a question to us. We respond to those very quickly. Or our phone number is on there, which is 926-1100. You can call us. We answer the phone all day long. We answer emails all day long. You don't need an appointment to bring an item in, but if it's a larger item that we need to have room for in the store, we like to know that it's coming in. And so we have a special number that you can text pictures to us on. And then we look at that, and we really help you decide if it's a good item to bring into the store. If you tell us about condition, age, brand, all those types of things, then we can give you where we think the market is on an item like that. A lot of times people think that we're buying the item from them, but that's not what we're doing. What we're really trying to do is hook them up with the market, which is out there, So if we start off, our strategy for pricing is generally, we want to come right out of the chute with a realistic price that will get the attention of people, that's not so high that they won't come in and look at it. Since it's used, most people won't buy something sight unseen. So we need to get them in the store and look at it and assess for themselves whether it's a good deal. If an item goes unsold, over time, we will gradually lower the price. And we're also, if the seller has given us a range to manage the price in, then you can, of course, like I said earlier, make an offer, and we can often close the sale, right then at that point. Or if we think that your offer is too low, we may counter or just decline it altogether. So negotiating is a big part of it, but it's a fun part of it for us, and it really can make negotiating for you fun also. A lot of times people, if you're dealing with the seller directly, you feel like you may insult them if you offer a price that's too low. Well, you never insult us. Our job is to close the deal, and we love it when you make offers. We either can or can't, but you can make it, without having to feel weird about it or the guy going to get angry at you.
No, it sounds very comfortable and easy to work with. Go back to the 45-day policy for me. You kind of started the show, or early in the show you were talking about that a little bit. If it's been on the floor at Craigs Mart for 45 days, that means, and it did not sell, you have to part company with the item?
So great question. And so our goal is to sell the item in the 45-day display period that you paid us the display fee for upfront. And to do that, we'll manage the price. Understand that the number one thing that will determine whether any item sells is the price. Like that $200 chainsaw, if you put a $1,000 price tag on it, it would never sell. And if you offered it for $5, it wouldn't last till lunchtime.
Yeah.
So price is really important. And so we try and we try and manage that to where the market is in Missoula. And the market can be fickle. I mean, it's if somebody has a sale in town on an item at a certain store, that can have a ripple effect on the used market also. But you bring it in, we have 45 days to sell it. We'll manage the price for you, slowly lower it over time. With the goal of selling it in that 45 days. If it doesn't sell, you can, of course, come and pick it up. Or if you don't want it back, you can leave it with us. You don't pay any more upfront in display fee. Instead, you give us full price control, and we will continue to lower the price gradually over time. And when it sells in the post 45-day period, then you receive 80% of what it sells for instead of 90%. So literally, you can bring an item down, give it to us, and be guaranteed that you'll never have to deal with it again. The next thing you'll have to do is just cash the check.
Got that. All right. This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate, and our special guest this morning is Ed Anderson, owner of Craigs Mart here in Missoula. And a special thank you to some of Diane's marketing partners that help bring you Missoula Real Estate Today. Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage, along with Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, and Carol Blodgett from MakeItMissoula.com. Believe it or not, Ed, we're almost out of time. Before I let you go, anything we might have missed that you want to get out there besides remind everybody of location, contact, store hours, all of that for us?
So first, I guess I really want to thank everybody in Missoula and the surrounding community that really supported us and brought so many things down and made it a fun place to work. So thank you. We're there for you, and we'll continue to be there. Our location is 3100 Brook Street. It's generally kind of across from the entrance to the mall.
Right.
Our hours are 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. every day, except Sunday when we are closed.
Okay.
I think that's about it. Right. I don't know.
And again, the website, Craigs, I always say dash, but you said hyphen, Craigs Mart.
Mart.com. You bet.
All right. So that's where folks can go and see what's in stock right now at Craigs Mart. Great job. Great meeting you. And thanks for coming on Missoula Real Estate Today.
My pleasure, Denny. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today. We hope you found this morning's information to be helpful. If you have any suggested topics for any future Missoula Real Estate Today programs or any questions about buying or selling, contact Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@realtor.com or visit our website, homesinmissoula.com. That's homesinmissoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.